Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. It is Men's Health Month, and next week it kicks off Men's Health Week. And so today we're going to be talking about some of those essentials out there to help in men's health, no matter what age you are. And who better to have on the show than my next guest, Dr. Kate Rhéaume. Kate, welcome. Great to have you back. And an important topic because, Kate, men often sort of leave their health probably too late. Let's just talk a little bit about that and some of those statistics behind that, Kate.
Men aren't as proactive about taking care of their health as women are. And so that results in men often, developing more chronic illness. We know that men have shorter lifespans due to these kinds of chronic conditions. And so it's really something worth paying attention to.
Kate, it's some of it because men take on perhaps more unhealthy habits than women? Is that fair to say?
That's definitely a part of it. Men do tend to have more unhealthy habits than women do, and they're also less likely to be going to their doctor for those regular checkups, and that can make a difference with early detection of certain types of chronic conditions.
What we put in our body, incredibly important. So before we get to those things that are good for us, what should men be avoiding?
Well, the obvious things, we want to look at alcohol in moderation because we know there are risk factors there for liver disease and other kinds of health concerns. And we want to keep, the obvious foods like high sugar, lots of deep fried foods. We've heard these things before. It's a matter of, getting into the habit of trying to eat less of those and making healthier choices as often as possible.
Yeah, certainly moderation is the good thing. So when it comes to good nutrition, again, it depends on many different factors, but I imagine fresh, local, right, starting with vegetables.
That's right. So we know, for example, any kind of fruits and vegetables, herbs and spices are great sources of antioxidants. That's important, as well as fiber, particularly cruciferous vegetables. So things like cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, these have a compound in them called indole-3-carbinol, which actually helps to metabolize hormones, lower levels of potentially harmful forms of estrogen, which can affect men the way it affects women. And we know that men who eat more of these types of vegetables, there's a lower risk, or it's been associated with a low risk of developing prostate cancer, for example. So that's important.
I'm sure I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but you can correct me. Glutathione, is that what?
Close, glutathione.
Okay, glutathione. Tell me about that and why that's important for us.
This is our body's major antioxidant. We do make it in our bodies, but less over time. And the key thing is that glutathione levels tend to drop off faster in men than women. And this is thought to be one factor in why men don't live as long as women on average. So getting in lots of, again, those cruciferous vegetables, as well as protein-rich foods, things like meat, seafood, egg yolks, for example, contain an amino acid that the body uses to make glutathione. And that is a powerful free radical fighter, which is important for overall health and chronic disease prevention.
All right, so next up, let's talk testosterone and why it's important and how to support that.
Testosterone, of course, we think about this as a male hormone, and it really does govern and affect so many aspects of men's health. Muscle mass, fat mass, energy, mood, even emotional and cognitive well-being. Testosterone levels can decline with age, but there are certain nutrients the body needs to make testosterone. For example, zinc, you'll find it in meat, seafood, oysters are a great source of zinc. Men who have slightly low zinc levels have been shown to, when they get the zinc back up in their diet, their testosterone levels will come back up. So that's something to keep aware of. Also, there are certain herbs. For example, your local health food store will have combinations that contain patented extracts of ashwagandha. and that is a herb that's been shown to support healthy testosterone levels.
Ashwagandha. I have never, this is why I love having you on the show, Kate, because I have never heard of that before. Is there a lot more science and research going into things like that, Kate, that, you know, perhaps we were using, I don't know, decades and decades ago, you know, for health reasons, and we've kind of put it aside. Are we seeing a growth in that, Kate?
Oh, definitely. So anything I discuss is because it's evidence-based, there's research behind it, and not just in a laboratory, but actual clinical trials showing that these kinds of things make a difference in, you know, markers of health or some aspect of well-being. There's definitely science to back this up now.
Kate, let's talk about vitamin D in particular. I know, you know, the sun is shining and people are getting out more. Of course, you know, we've had a couple of days recently here in the Ottawa area. You're seeing it in Toronto and New York, where because of those wildfires, the air quality is terrible. But, you know, once that starts to clear up, people, of course, going back outside, enjoying those outdoor activities and getting sunshine. Do we get enough vitamin D from the sun at this time of year, or should we be looking at a supplement?
Well, the only way to know that for sure is to have a vitamin D test. And again, that's something that can be done at those checkups that we were talking about off the top. And that's really the only way to know for sure whether the amount of sun exposure you're getting is giving you enough vitamin D. But we know that in Canada, there's a real short window for getting enough vitamin D from the sun. Most people benefit from a vitamin D supplement for most of the year, certainly in the winter.
Kate, before I let you go, just another reminder of the importance of that checkup and how often should we be getting it. And I know a lot of doctors from, you know, just conversations I've been having within my circle of friends and family are saying, you know what, you don't have to do it necessarily as often. I'm not sure that's the case. How often should we be getting that checkup?
Well, it depends on your personal health and family history, but if you haven't been in a while, you definitely want to go get blood pressure checked, as well as some of that basic blood work, because these are simple ways that you can, you know, have early detection of some chronic conditions. If those things look good, your doctor may say, hey, you're fine for 2 or 3 or more years, but go for that checkup first to see where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. Kate, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Great advice as usual from Dr. Rhéaume. We'll be back with more after this.